So, I almost stuck to my 4-year college sports cycle with this game now, didn't I? You know, had it not been for 2008 sucking so bad and forcing me to get NCAA 2009, I would have most likely stayed on schedule my 4-year cycle. However, the gameplay in the background comes from NCAA 2012, which is the third game of my series this week, and my decision to buy this game doesn't come very lightly. You know, it's not as hard as telling YouTube auditor to fuck you, but it was a pretty hard damn decision. You know, by the time 2011 came around, the year this game came out, I had all but forsaken all my sports games. I told you guys the story of NCAA 2009, realizing that the PlayStation 3 was now in line to receive all of 360 sloppy seconds. So for 3 years, I didn't buy a single sports game knowing this was the case. And in seeing the reviews for most sports games, it was clear the PlayStation 3 version of sports games was inferior. And in this time frame, from 2008 to 2011, there were a number of top-notch games that were released. Uncharted, Call of Duty games, you know, the early ones, like Modern Warfare 2 and before that shit. Not this fucking shit on the stick that they've all created since that goddamn game. Anyway, Assassin's Creed, BioShock, God of War, Little Big Planet, you name it, the games came out in full force during these 3 years. This 3-year period in which I didn't buy sports games, I became an all-around gamer. I pretty much walked away from sports games and stopped buying them and playing them altogether. I always had that itch to return to sports games, but seeing how many decent games were on the market to play, I always had something to fill my time until the next game came out. There was always something that kept my interest long enough to make me want to play another game. Unfortunately, during the year 2011, aside from a few key games like Mass Effect 2 being ported in January, Little Big Planet 2, there was a serious drought of gaming for me from November of 2010 all the way through the summer. Black Ops 1 was released in November, and I hated that shit. Oh, you guys are going to get to see that video. Played it less than a week, came back to it 2 separate times in the future, but other than that, all I did was play it 1 week, 2 extra days, and I never went back to that piece of shit, and basically swore that game off that I would never play it again, but unfortunately because of this series, I'm gonna have to play that piece of shit one more time. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit was released in November 2010. That was a pretty damn entertaining game. I had a ton of fun playing that game, but like any racing game, after a while, I accomplished everything I wanted to do in the game. Fully ranked up, beat all the races, got a platinum trophy on the motherfucker. I had nothing left to play for in that game other than shits and giggles. Mass Effect 2 was obviously a fantastic game, and I'm going to talk about that when I do its video, as well as Little Big Planet 2. But other than that, 2011 was a pretty barren year for gaming series that I played, man. I wasn't into Dead Space, so I didn't buy the sequel, since obviously I didn't have the original bits of motherfucker. Looking back, I probably should have gotten into Dead Space, considering all the praise that that series has received overall. I didn't get Dragon Age 2 because I didn't get Dragon Age 1. I didn't get LA Noire because for some reason it just didn't appeal to me. Rockstar just didn't inspire me to get that game. Instead, I bought Killzone 3, hoping it would improve upon Killzone 2, and as I stated in the Killzone 3 video, what a disappointment that shit was, to say the least. I tried the Homefront demo from THQ, wasn't feeling it. I bought Crysis 2 out of sheer hype, and of course that game's gonna get its own video, but it was an okay game, nothing special. Online really didn't do it for me, but the game was just overall average. Then I got SOCOM 4, and that game was pretty much underwhelming from the start. And that was right before the PSN outage went, but that game got all fucked over. So anyway, if you look at my gaming situation at the time, I had no Call of Duty to play. I even went back to Call of Duty 4 because, you know what, why the fuck not? I finished Hot Pursuit, I played Mass Effect 4 times over for a platinum trophy, I didn't like Killzone, couldn't get into Crysis, played SOCOM offline, and then tried online, and it was like smacking in your head with a fucking hammer trying to convince yourself you like that shit, man. My only option was really Little Big Planet to make my own fucking game. By July of 2011, I was bored out of my fucking mind. I needed a game, and I figured I would return to my old ways of sports. I had 2 main choices around that time. Buy NCAA or buy Madden. Tiger Woods Golf was also an option, but I'm going to talk about golf a little bit later. I chose to go with NCAA football. It came out a month earlier than Madden, so I had a little bit of more potential for a longer lifespan after the season was over, so I chose that, and in the next video I'm going to be explaining why I choose college football over Madden, because it's a topic of its own. But I looked at the reviews of this game, looked at the scores of NCAA 2012, and it was pretty much par for the course. Felt like NCAA 2011, which obviously I didn't get because you guys didn't see the video. Made improvements, felt smooth, but the biggest thing that I noticed in the reviews is that most people said the same exact thing. The PlayStation 3 version was closing the gap in quality on the 360 version. So, I decided to give it a chance, and I bought this game hoping it would keep me entertained until the next Call of Duty came out in November. Overall, the game felt better than in 2009, which was 3 years prior, and certainly felt way better than the 2008 version. And Had I continued my trend of sports games, 2012 would have been the year I normally would have gotten this game in my regular cycle. The player movements looked and felt smoother than ever before. In 2009, they still felt a little choppy and a little too video game unrealistic, you know, if you know what I'm talking about and shit like that. But 2012 made the movements feel closer to real life. It wasn't exactly real life, obviously they can't match that shit, but it certainly felt closer, which is a good thing. Recruiting was improved from the last time I played this shit. A bit more involved and logical to show you how you land good recruits. So the game certainly improved upon that proportion. It took much longer to recruit a motherfucker, and you had to visit them and shit like each week. And sometimes it actually took you longer to recruit than to actually play the game. But overall, it was an improvement over the randomness of the prior versions of the game. It's not perfect, but it was improved over the 2008 and 2009 versions of the game. They also added a bit of the tradition and pageantry of college football with team-specific entrances and whatnot. You know, although they eliminated like the team celebrations and the ability to celebrate with a mascot, I don't know. I guess they figured that that was like a celebration penalty back in the day. Because, you know, you're not allowed to have any fucking fun in football. You know, meanwhile, football players run all around the field, sliding like assholes, making armpit farts. Oh, no, don't get me started on that bullshit. Another rant for another day. Not even going to talk about football versus football. But anyway, the biggest problem this game had was the glitches. Holy fuck, the glitches damn near ruined this game. In particular, the no-huddle glitch. The no-huddle offense became unplayable. You no longer had the ability to call different plays from the no-huddle. And they kept you in the same plays and formation every single time. It was fucking horrible. And the worst part is, that glitch was the result of a patch. No. I'm fucking serious about that right now. A patch rolled out to fix something else, but the patch ended up causing this no-huddle glitch. And the shit lasted for months. They didn't want to fix this shit, and it made the game impossible to play. Once that happened, this game became almost unplayable against other people in close games. You couldn't run a hurry-up offense in the last half of a game. It was total bullshit. Take example for the team I have in the background, Oregon, known for their fast style of play and their speed. Well, all of that was reduced to bullshit because their attack is based on the no-huddle offense. So great. So fans of Oregon, or the bandwagon fans, just like the uniform, they couldn't run Oregon the way their real-life team operated. They couldn't make it like the real-life offense because the glitch made the game unplayable. And on a side note, you're going to notice in the game that I'm playing Alabama, and they are absolutely horrible at tackling. You know, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but after I finished recording this game, I went and I looked at the setting because there's no way Oregon should be able to run all over Alabama like this. And my sliders were all fucked up. The CPU defense was all lowered and whatnot. So all these missed tackles, the shitty defense that you're seeing from Alabama, is because I messed with the default sliders and they were made real shitty. So this is not what a typical varsity game looks like. All this bullshit is because my sliders are fucked up. There is no way the Alabama defense in NCAA 2012 was this fucking bad, and no way the Oregon offense was this good. Yes, they're a good team. They're both good teams. But the sliders were all fucked up, and it allowed my team to just run all over these guys. Normally, this shit wouldn't happen in a normal game, man. But anyway, I wasn't about to go back and refilm this shit. I got 20 minutes of footage, all I fucking needed. Fuck that shit. But anyway, I specifically took Oregon to see if this glitch was fixed, because of all the teams, this is the one that is going to run the no-huddle offense to perfection. And it seems that EA had a workaround where you could run the no-huddle offense, but no playbook shows up. In other words, you need to have some pretty damn good audibles on your team, since their fix to the no-huddle offense was to dumb it down. It wasn't a true fix, it was a workaround. That ruined a pretty decent version of the series and made it virtually unplayable. You would think something like that would be fucking fixed, but unfortunately, this is EA Sports we're talking about. Not a competent gaming company, but EA fucking Sports, who manages to break games where they weren't broken in the first place. Holy fucking shit. You roll out a patch that breaks the game. Think about that for a second. You roll out something to fix the game only for it to fuck the game up. And again, they didn't unfuck this game for a good 4 to 5 months. I mean, by that time, other games have already released, and I was like, you know what, fuck this game. I ain't going back to this bullshit. They broke the game in September. They didn't fix it till around February. That gives you a good idea of just how bad that gap was in not being able to run the no-huddle offense. Not fixing this game is what forced a lot of people away from the shit. And it also made people very weary of NCAA 2013. But unfortunately, I didn't buy that game, so I'm not going to get into that bullshit. But it pretty much ruined this series for 2 straight fucking years. But in any event, NCAA 12 carried me through the bleak summer towards the next Call of Duty, which was Modern Warfare 3. Think about this for a second, man. Needless to say, I was going from one broken game to another broken game. Can you only imagine my reaction to see that Modern Warfare 3 was fucking horrible? I had just played a broken college football game, and now I went to a broken Call of Duty game. Oh man, the joys of leaving that game because it was too glitchy to go play Modern Warfare 3. That's like saying, to cure diabetes, we have to inject you with a formula that gives you cancer. No matter what, you're fucked. I liked NCAA 12 up until it became unplayable, and I will say that for a game to hold me over for a few months, it did its job. It didn't do it well, but it did it enough to carry me to my next game that I was going to buy, which ended up being Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Oh my god, and what was otherwise a weak year of games, I had some shitty choices to make as to what games we're going to play. I mean, seriously, man, I should just kept playing Little Big Planet or something. But anyways, that is the story of why I bought NCAA 2012 and how fucked up that game was. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.